What's up, y'all? I'm just some punkster. For those of you who don't know me, I am a chronically ill Dead by Daylight content creator and Twitch streamer. Recently, I announced that I'm starting a project called Saved by the Fog, a segment where I bring other chronically ill Dead by Daylight content creators onto my stream so we can raise awareness to various chronic illnesses within the fog, as well as expressing how being in the fog has positively impacted our lives. Within this, I've also started a movement on Twitter, #SavedByTheFog. You can use this hashtag by tagging Dead by Daylight and sharing with them your positive experiences within the fog and letting them know how much the game means to you. So for today's video, I'm going to be kicking off Saved by the Fog by sharing my story with chronic illness, how it led to me playing Dead by Daylight, becoming a streamer, and sharing my positive experiences within the fog. So I have a very long history with chronic illness. My story begins when I was the age of 9. I got diagnosed with something called ankylosing spondylitis. It is a rare form of arthritis, primarily in the spine. But for me, when I first got diagnosed, it was affecting a lot of different areas in my body. I had it in my feet, my knees, my hips, my back, my fingers, my neck. I think that's it. I was in a lot of pain. What it does basically, as a lot of you I'm sure know, arthritis causes you a lot of joint pain and a lot of inflammation. But the thing with ankylosing spondylitis is it's not just arthritis, it is an autoimmune condition. So not only was I dealing with a lot of pain, but my immune system was severely messed up. I was getting sick a lot, I was in a lot of pain. It was a lot for somebody, you know, at the age of 9. It was during this time that I started using a wheelchair. I would use it on and off because I would get really bad flare-ups of pain. The pain would be so bad that I was unable to walk. I was also becoming very disfigured because of it. I was fusing up. Both of my hips were affected. And one of them was actually starting to go higher than the other. And both of my feet were turned inwards. So walking was very uncomfortable. So this lasted up until I would say about 16. I went through a lot of different medications. And when I was 16, I started a medication called Humira, and it's an auto-injector, so basically it's like an EpiPen. Once I started this medication, I actually went into remission. During that remission, I actually went into remission until I was about 22. I believe. Just because I was in remission, that doesn't mean that the autoimmune part of it went away. It was just primarily the pain. So I was still getting sick a lot, and I still had to try to take care of myself the best way that I knew how. But I did go a very long time without having to deal with any chronic pain, which thank God. And once I hit 22, that's when things started to go downhill again. In 2019, I decided to go away on a trip. I wouldn't exactly call it a full, it wasn't like a vacation or anything like that, but I decided to move to Alberta for a few months for a job. I was in housekeeping. Nasty job. 11 out of 10 don't recommend. But basically, while I was away, I got sick a lot, as you would with the job, because it's a really dirty job. You're touching a lot of people's stuff. So honestly, in retrospect, someone with an autoimmune condition, definitely don't recommend working in housekeeping because you will get sick a lot. During my time away, I was getting sick a lot. Wasn't good for my immune system. And then there was one time where I got so sick, I had to go to the hospital. Basically, I went to the emergency room. They told me I had the flu. And then they sent me home with antibiotics. Usually with the normal human body, someone who isn't, chronically ill, that would be the end of that, and the flu would be gone and you would feel better. Well, with my immune system, it was, I guess, so damaged at that point, just given how often I was getting sick and I was never getting better, that I just never felt 100% after I had that flu. It started getting to the point where I was so fatigued that I had to start calling in sick all the time with my job. And then inevitably it got bad enough where I felt like I had to go back home. I just knew deep down that there was something seriously wrong with me. I just felt numb all the time. I felt zoned out. I also realized I was having issues with my vision. Everything felt blurry and I couldn't see anything like I had before. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew something was wrong, so I decided to go back home. Right before COVID hit, I actually had to quit my job that I had when I moved back home because it started to get even worse. I ended up going on disability because I felt like I couldn't handle a job anymore. And that's basically when I became homebound. And I've been homebound ever since. It's been 3 years now. It took a lot of time for me to really know what was going on with me because it was very complex. I didn't know anybody who was going through any of it. I did a lot of doctor's appointments to try to get to the bottom of it. They didn't know what was wrong with me. I would do all these blood tests and they came back normal all the time. And they would basically just say, "You're fine." Pat me on the back, send me home. It almost felt like I was constantly getting gaslit because I knew that I had to quit my job. I was staying at home all the time. I stopped hanging out with friends. Daily tasks started to become significantly challenging to the point where I stopped showering as much. Just like little things, doing the stairs was exhausting for me. Chronic fatigue syndrome is a very complex thing to diagnose. I still haven't been properly diagnosed with it. I've had plenty of doctors tell me that they think that's what's going on with me, but the unfortunate thing about chronic fatigue syndrome is there's no cure for it. There's not really a lot of treatment options. There's still not a lot of... Sorry, I'm having like really bad brain fog right now. I like zone the fuck out. Anyways, there's still a lot of research being done about chronic fatigue syndrome. So all of these doctors that I was seeing were kind of alluding to the idea that I had it, and they would say, yeah, that's definitely like the symptoms. You meet all the symptoms, but there's nothing I can do to help you. I've spent the last few years basically just jumping from doctor to doctor trying to get help, and really it's just gotten worse. There hasn't really been any changes. I have yet to find a doctor who's willing to help me. Here's the hefty part. One of the main symptoms are like flu-like symptoms. What I try to explain to people is when you live with chronic fatigue syndrome, you basically wake up every single day feeling like you have the flu or like you just got COVID and you ran a marathon and you didn't sleep for 48 hours. I have a lot of sinus problems. My nose is literally always stuffed up. Like I never get a break. I'm always blowing my nose, and it's been like that for 3 fucking years. I always have a sore throat, and I kind of have like swollen glands on the side of my neck. Unrefreshing sleep and insomnia are big ones. I actually had to start taking sleeping pills because my insomnia was getting so bad. Concentration and cognitive problems, so like brain fog. I have a really hard time processing information. It made school feel like impossible. I tried going back to school, had to quit because it was so bad. Abdominal problems is huge. I have had stomach issues and they've gotten worse over the last 3 years. A lot of bloating, a lot of nausea. I get random waves of nausea all the time. Don't know where it comes from. Where to come from, where to go, where to come from, Cotton Eye Joe. Light and noise sensitivity is a huge one. When I have like really bad flare-ups, I basically have to send myself into my bedroom, have all the lights off, just lay there in the dark, and it's like the most depressing times when I have to go through that because I can't really do a whole lot. I don't even watch TV. I'm barely on my phone. I will literally just lay in the dark alone in my bedroom. Muscle and joint pain is another one. I don't get a whole lot of it. The weird thing with mine is that I deal with it primarily at night, so it has a tendency to keep me up a lot at night, which doesn't help with my insomnia. I get a lot of pain just like shooting down my arms, down my legs, and it seems very random too. Like it just kind of comes out of nowhere. I never know when it's gonna be a bad night. Headaches, I get headaches periodically. I don't deal with them every day, but I do deal with them a lot more over the last 3 years. And the main one, this is basically like the primary symptom that defines if you have chronic fatigue syndrome, and it's called PEM, which is also called I'm gonna butcher this, post-exertional malaise. I think that's how you pronounce it, post-exertional malaise. So basically what that means, let's just say I decided to go for a walk today. Someone with chronic fatigue syndrome, our energy levels are very different, obviously. It's not just about feeling tired, it's that our bodies actually spend energy much faster. The normal person would go for a walk and, they would, if you went for like a walk for an hour, you would definitely feel tired. Someone with chronic fatigue syndrome, you can go for a walk for 15 minutes and you feel very out of breath and you actually pay for it for a few days after. It's the same thing when I take showers. I can only take showers once a week now because it's so physically exhausting. When you are in a PEM flare-up, all of your symptoms are amplified, and then on top of that, you actually become so physically tired that you spend a lot of your time laying down. That's basically how I live my life every single day now. And basically, when you're not in a state of PEM, you are at what is called a baseline. I'm basically in the moderate state. For about 2 years, I would say that I was in like the early stages of it. But now my personal baseline is basically feeling too tired to shower. So I only shower once a week. I spend most of my time laying down. When I'm not streaming, I'm laying down and I'm resting because it feels like my body constantly is in a recovery state. Noise and light sensitivity are really severe for me. Any banging noises. I have a fireplace that, you know, is really loud. Even just the sound of a fireplace sends like pain in my head. One of the main symptoms that I deal with on a daily basis is my brain always feels like it's full and it feels like it's on fire. I can always tell that I need to lay down when I start to feel that fiery feeling in my brain. It has definitely negatively impacted a lot of my simple self-maintenance and simple daily tasks. It takes me a very long time to get out of bed in the morning. Getting out of bed is probably the hardest thing I have to do. I cannot do anything for the first 2 hours of the day. It's like my body is still trying to feel like it's even remotely alive. I basically only have like a few hours of spendable energy, which is a huge thing with chronic fatigue syndrome. A good way to explain it is that the normal person has about 9 to 12 usable hours in a day. The normal person can get up, get ready, go to work for like, you know, 9 hours, come home, make dinner, and you know, like just normal everyday things. You can do it within a 12-hour span, and then you feel tired at the end of the day. Someone with chronic fatigue syndrome, for me, I only have about 4 usable hours in a day, which is not a lot, and the only way that I am able to spend those is on stream. When I'm not streaming, I am constantly in recovery mode. When I'm not streaming, I am laying down and I am resting so that I have enough energy to spend the next day. Streaming has been really challenging for me. As much as I enjoy it, it is challenging because content creation, it can be very consuming. There's a lot of editing, so even when I feel like I don't have the energy to do it, I have editing that I have to do, so I'm spending energy that I don't have. I've lost a lot of my physical strength. Another symptom that I deal with is tremors. As you can see right here. I don't like talking about it a lot on stream because I do get insecure about it, but for the sake of this video, I will talk about it, obviously, because I want to show what it's like. Even just like holding a water bottle is a lot for me. I get a water bottle with a straw so that I don't have to lift it up as much, because lifting it up to try to drink is a lot for me. Doing my makeup is probably one of the more challenging things, because you have to be very precise. It can definitely be frustrating when I'm in the mirror trying to do my eyeliner and I'm shaking and literally my hand just like decides to have a huge tremor and just like fuck up my eyeliner. So it takes me a questionable amount of time just to do my eyeliner. A lot longer than the average person. Even just filming this video right now, I can tell the warning signs of when my fatigue is starting to flare up and telling me that enough is enough, because I start to get sinus pain, my brain starts to feel like it's on fire, my throat starts to get really sore, so I always have Halls on hand, because at the end of the day, there's things that I need to do, and it's kind of like a fight between when do I need to rest and when do I need to just suck it up and push through and do my best and just get done what I need to get done. It's very unfortunate that you have to choose between those things. At the end of the day, I have bills that I have to pay, you know, so I can't just spend my days resting as much as I know that I need it. There's a lot of days where I feel like I can't get through it and all I want to do is lay down, but I don't have a choice because I need to make money in order to pay for all my medical shit, which is really really frustrating, but at the end of the day, it's part of life. Another way that it impacts my day-to-day life is that I actually don't see friends. I don't have friends anymore whatsoever. I also don't see my family a lot. I see my family maybe once a month if I'm lucky. Usually it's every other month, and I can only stay for a few hours because then I'm beat for the day. The only time I leave my house is basically for medical appointments, and even then, if I have the option to do an over the phone appointment, I will. It's definitely affected my relationships to a certain extent because I don't have a lot of social battery because of my fatigue. So I have to spend a lot of time not talking to anybody to try and conserve my energy. When I'm not on stream, I am quiet. Like I'm trying my best not to talk to people. My illness definitely affects my ability to stream, mainly because I know if I wasn't sick, I would be streaming like 6 days a week. I would definitely do longer streams. I would definitely have a lot more energy to spend on editing, and one of the main things that I mentioned before is cognitive problems, so learning things takes a lot longer for me than the average person. My fatigue also makes it very difficult to sit down and learn something for a long period of time, or if it's technical stuff, like if I'm working on OBS, I can only work on it for a very short period of time or becoming burnt out. On stream, there's lots of days where I feel like my energy is lower and I get kind of insecure about it because I feel like I'm not as entertaining because I'm more tired than usual. There's times where I have to cut stream earlier. Some days it's so bad that I have to cancel altogether. All right, now let's get down to what everybody is really here to know. A lot of you already know this. I've talked to everybody's ears off because I have so much passion for this game and I have a very emotional attachment. I found the game about 2 years ago, and the reason I started getting into it was because I was watching Jason Sully and Julian Solomita, and they were swiffing together. And they were running head-on, and they were doing a lot of head-on games, and they would call it poop and loop, and one person would loop around and then the other person would head-on. I was like, that looks fun as shit. I want to do that. And so I immediately downloaded the game. Literally, I'm not even, no word of a lie, I have played it every single day since. Even if it's only for an hour. If I don't play it, my heart actually gets very sad. The longest I went without playing it was a week, and it was because I literally was out of the country. But other than that, even while I was gone, I was watching DBD TikTok, I was on Twitter, and I was looking at everyone in the Dead by Daylight community. I was watching more videos YouTube and stuff. I just can't get away from it. So yeah, I've been playing the game for about 2 years now. I've been streaming for about, I just hit my 1-year mark. I very distinctly remember my first streaming Dead by Daylight, and I used to do console streaming. I didn't have a webcam or anything. I literally just hit the go live button, and I was mid-match. I was playing against a nemesis, I remember that, and I was playing with 2 of my friends that I met through Dead by Daylight online. Yeah, it's been history ever since. I hit the go live button because the friend that I was playing with, I was telling him that I had a lot of anxiety about it, mainly because I was who would want to watch me? And the anxiety obviously stemmed from my chronic illness. I was too tired, I'm too sick. Nobody would want to watch someone who's as sick as me. And he told me to do it for myself first. He was encouraging me to stream so that I could go back and remember funny moments, because he knew that was the thing that I loved about Dead by Daylight the most, was all the funny moments that I had with my friends. The one thing that it has helped me with the most is, to be honest, it has positively impacted the entirety of my life. Before I found Dead by Daylight, I lost everything. Like I mentioned before, I didn't have any friends anymore. I spent 2 years by myself. The only person I really hung out with was my fiance, and he was at work a lot as well, so I spent a lot of my time alone. And when I started playing Dead by Daylight, it was the first time where I had people to laugh with, and that was something that really sparked my love for Dead by Daylight. It grew into this big fiery passion of, I just want to spend all my time here now because this is where I'm the happiest. And when I realized that it had become my happy place, I wanted to share that feeling with other people. So that's when I started streaming Dead by Daylight, because I wanted to share those beautiful moments with my friends online And I also wanted to connect with other people who feeling the same things towards the game. And it took me until recently to realize that in a way the game had saved me, which is why I called this Saved by the Fog, because I realized that I had jumped from a period in my life where I lost everything and I had nothing and I had no aspirations anymore. I didn't have a job, I had no friends. In a way, the game gave me all of those things back. The game gave me my life back. Suddenly I had like all of these people who were in my life when I was lacking that before. Suddenly I had a light in my life again that I didn't have before. Suddenly I had passion in my life again. I had dreams, I had hopes, I had things that I wanted to achieve again because of this game. This game has given me everything. It has given me everything. I get fucking emotional every goddamn time. I hate how emotional I get talking about this. Fuck, I'm not gonna ruin my makeup, not today. We're not ruining my makeup. I did it special for the video. Like a sponge. We're soaking it up like a sponge. But for real, I would have nothing if it weren't for this game. This game entirely altered the direction of my life when I felt like I had nothing more to live for. It made me feel like my life was mine again. And I know that can be dramatic, that might sound dramatic to some people, but for me, all of this, being here and being in the community, nothing has made more sense in my life. One thing that obviously changed a lot of it was the Twitch shirt moment. I was not expecting that anytime soon, and getting the Twitch shirts honestly was a big turning point for me. I've met a lot of people, a lot of beautiful people in the community because of it. It was amazing to connect with the people who literally gave me my life back. Knowing that they knew how I felt about the game and knowing that I somehow contributed to their lives in a positive way, that is the feeling that I want to chase moving forward in the community. And that's why I created Saved by the Fog. I want this to be the thing that helps people realize their passions again. I want this to be the thing that lets people embrace who they really are and show the world that the Dead by Daylight community has a lot more positivity than they realize. I mean, just within my story alone, you know, like, to some people, this is just a video game, but to others, to people like me in my position, it's the thing that gets them out of bed every day. It's the thing that helped them get through a really hard time. And Saved by the Fog is exactly that. It's showing the Dead by Daylight community that it's not just about complaining about how bad the latest chapter is or like how bad the meta is, you know, because there's so much talk about all the negativity or how much they could be improving. There's a lot of people who are not speaking very great things about the devs and the people who work on Dead by Daylight. But there's so many other people who are like me in the community who see the light in Dead by Daylight, who see all the good things in Dead by Daylight, and that's exactly what Saved by the Fog is meant to be. Not only is it meant to be, you know, showing the positive side of Dead by Daylight and showing that there's a lot of good here. It's also to raise awareness to chronic illnesses within the fog. The moment I started being open and honest about my experiences with chronic illness and how the fog has helped me, that was when I started learning that there were other people like me too. So the main goal with doing Saved by the Fog is to show people that there are a lot of other people out there who appreciate the game for what it is, and for, you know, all of the hard work that they put into it, but also that the game isn't just a game. It's something that actually helps people. It's something that brings people together, and I want to show that specifically in the chronically ill community. So there you have it. That's my story. I hope that I could explain it the best way that I could. It's a very heavy topic. It's hard to touch upon everything that I deal with because honestly, the thing with chronic illness is you don't know what it's like until you live with it. This has been the first episode of Saved by the Fog. If you want to watch more Saved by the Fog content, I will be streaming it live on my Twitch channel, link in the description. If you do want to check it out, hit the follow button. I'll be trying to do this content every other week where I'll be bringing somebody on. If you can't make the streams, that's okay, because after the streams, I will be posting it here on YouTube as well. All right, I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I appreciate you, and I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and having a great day. Bye, y'all.